Hi, I'm Jeff Dixon. Welcome to Urban Legends, where we take what is an urban legend, legitimately an urban legend, talk about it, explore it, and then give you some spiritual ramifications, some spiritual life lessons about that particular urban legend. Today, I want to talk to you about a place called the Bennington Triangle. The Bennington Triangle, and you may have heard of it, is an area of Vermont encompassing the Glastonbury Mountain and the surrounding forests and wilderness. When it comes to what's said about this spot, the line between legend and reality is very thin. If you ask a local, they'll tell you not to wander off the trail under any circumstances. If you go online and type in Bennington Triangle, they'll give you a list of names. Real people who went into the triangle one day and never came back out. Either way, you don't want to be the next headline. Between 1945 and 1950, the Bennington Triangle became famous for a string of disappearances. 5 people, most of them gone without a trace. The name Bennington Triangle was coined by author Joseph Cicero, whose own research into Vermont's weirdness turned up stories of UFOs, Bigfoot-like creatures, and a mountain said to be cursed long before any hiker ever got lost there. It all started with Mitty Evans, an experienced woodsman who vanished in 1945 while leading a hunting party. One second, he was ahead of his group on the trail, and the next, he was gone. He was carrying a rifle, and he knew the mountains better than most. Researchers found only a single rifle cartridge in a stream, as if Rivers had simply stepped out of this world and into another. A year later, Paula Weldon, an 18-year-old college student, decided to hike the Long Trail. She was last seen walking into the woods, wearing a red parka against the winter gray. Hundreds searched, bloodhounds, soldiers, even psychics, but not a scrap of clothing or a footprint ever turned up. Her disappearance sparked the creation of the Vermont State Police, but nobody could believe that someone could just vanish so completely with no evidence. In 1949, James Tedford, a veteran and resident of the Bennington Soldiers' Home, boarded a bus home after visiting relatives. Somewhere between stops, he disappeared, his luggage still on the seat, and fellow passengers swearing that he had been there for the whole ride. The bus had stopped in Burlington, where Tedford was believed to have gotten back on. But by the end of the ride, he was gone, never to be seen again. Next came Paul Jepson, an 8-year-old with a love for the outdoors and a mom who turned her back for just a moment. Search dogs were used to track his scent to a crossroads, then nothing. And theories ran wild: kidnapping, animal attack, even the supernatural. But there was no evidence, just another grieving family and another notch in the Triangle's legend. The last of the famous 5, Frida Langer, a seasoned hiker who fell behind on a track with her cousin in 1950. She said she'd catch up after changing her wet clothes, but she never did. The search found nothing until 7 months later, when her remains turned up in an area that had already been searched. She wasn't there before, and then she was. And no one could determine a cause of death or say how she died. And at that, the Bennington Triangle became an urban legend in that Vermont wilderness. If you venture into the triangle, it's a one-way trip in. And according to the legend, you never come back out. In our next episode, we'll explore just a little bit deeper the ins and outs of the Bennington Triangle and set up a conversation about some spiritual truth that we can learn from this urban legend. I look forward to joining you next time, where the legends are just legends until they become a little too real. Join me then.